Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another Mathconnect tutorial. In this lesson, you'll learn how to convert decimals into fractions. The requirement for this lesson is that you know how to convert improper fractions into mixed numbers, as well as simplifying fractions. Let's start with a simple decimal, 0.1. To convert 0.1 into a fraction, we do the following. We move the decimal point over one spot. What we have now is the number 1, which becomes the numerator. The denominator will be 10. This will all make sense in a second when we do examples 2 and 3. So say we want to convert 0.01 into a fraction. We simply move the decimal point 2 places. So what we get is the numerator will be 1 and the denominator will be 100. Now, if we wanted to convert 0.001 into a fraction, we simply move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 spaces over. So now the numerator is 1 and the denominator is 1000. I think you can see a pattern here. So let's try it with another example, 0.0001. So what does that look like as a fraction? How many steps do we move the decimal point? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the numerator is 1 and the denominator is 1 with 4 zeros at the end, or 10,000. So let's try this with a decimal that you're familiar with, 0.5. We follow the same process. That is, we move the decimal point over one spot. The numerator is now 5. And the denominator, because we only moved over one spot, is 10. So the answer is 5/10, or if you simplify that, that gives you 1/2. So let's try a few more decimals that you're familiar with. 0.25. So how many spaces do we move the decimal point? That's right, we move it 2 spots. 1, 2. So the numerator becomes 25 and the denominator, because we moved it 2 spots, becomes 100. So the answer is 25 over 100, or if you simplify that, becomes 1/4. So let's try one more common decimal that you would know, 0.75. Again, we move the decimal point over 2 spots. The numerator will now be 75 and the denominator, because you moved it over twice, is 100. And if you simplify this, it becomes 3/4. So now I want you to have a go. So I want you to convert 0.6 into a fraction. How did you go? How many spaces did you have to move? That's right. You only had to move one spot. So the numerator is 6. And because you've only moved the decimal point one spot, the denominator becomes 10. And if we simplify 6/10, that becomes 3/5. So what happens when we have a decimal such as 1.25? Well, the principle is exactly the same. We do the same thing. We need to shift the decimal point over 2 times. So the numerator now is 125. And because we shifted the decimal point over 2 times, the denominator is 100. Now, if we simplify this, this is simply 125 over 100. And you can simplify that further. It becomes 1 1/4. So let's do one more. What if you had 2.031? Well, if you follow the rules, we move the decimal point over 1, 2, 3 times. So the numerator is 2031. And because we moved the decimal point over 3 times, the bottom number, or the denominator, is 1000. So we can change this to a mixed number, and that would be 231 over 1000. And that concludes our lesson. Once again, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please support the channel by subscribing and spreading the word.